Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. I cannot tell you how overjoyed I am to have the inimitable globe-trotting, no less, Karen Bashford, the empowerment mentor, in the virtual studio today. And when she told me what today's topic was, I was a little bit confused because it seems such a... Well, I'll explain. Today's topic is the power of being you, which, that's individual, but apparently there's some basic elements to it that Karen's going to unearth today. Tell me more, please.
Okay, so the power of being you means literally being you without all the experiences you've had that you've held on to from other people. You have your own experiences. That is you. But you bring so many other elements into your life from your parents, from friends, from school, from work even. You take on that energy, you take on those people's beliefs. You might challenge some of them, but that doesn't mean to say they don't seep in and become part of you. When you become you and have the power of being you, you don't listen to all the other beliefs and behaviors you picked up on. You are actually you. You only operate based on what is right for you and what is the truth for you. That's the big difference about being in the power of being you.
So how do you defend against the nagging doubts, the feeling that perhaps you've missed on something important, that if you could be leading people astray, or potentially, how do you protect against constantly trying to mask up? Because being neurodivergent, I've spent most of my life with a mask on to try and fit into society. It's only recently I've realized I don't need to do that anymore. But there's a lot of people out there I know that struggle with not constantly trying to put the mask on.
Okay, so the best way to unmask yourself, I suppose, is one way of putting it, is to get to know yourself. Who are you? You get the imposter syndrome coming up. You feel as an imposter. You look at somebody and think, oh, they're doing a lot better than me. Actually, are they really? Or is that something you believe? Yes. So you need to start questioning yourself. Is this true? Do I know their life story? Do I know their experiences? You only know your own experiences. They're the experiences you need to be accepting as being true and not take on the belief that that person is better than me, because none of us are better than anyone. We're only as good as we are as an individual, being the best we can be in any moment. We don't have to be better than anyone else. We don't have to do things because other people tell us to. We can just be ourselves. And that's the big difference about being you. You're just doing yourself.
The problem I see, problem's probably too strong a word. The difficulty I see is that when you've been a certain way for a long period of time, and goodness knows I see people around me with very established traits and behaviors, you can almost see them change and slip into that path when they go into the social setting, or when you find them a home and they're quite different. So you put on these different costumes whenever the path takes you there, because they're old and established, like ruts. How do you get out of the rut? How do you stop being always doing what you've always done?
Well, I'm a prime example. You described me as being quite uninteresting, I suppose, is one way of putting it. I was
sorry guys. I have a turn of phrase which sometimes Karen and I are good friends, and she knows me very well. I did not mean anything negative about it. But there's good stuff here, because I may have described you that way, and I think I probably did. You were nondescript. You just didn't exude. You're not like now. Whereas if you forgive me, Karen, she glows, and there's a reason for that, right?
Yep. And that's because I explored at a very deep level. I had no option. What I believed about myself, what I believed that my life should be, how I should live, how I should respond to people and such like. It's only in taking the time to question do you actually find that you're living a lie. And that's what I was doing, living a lie. That lie held me back. That lie stopped me from doing anything that I am now doing with such joy.
So it was kind of the way you described it to me was you kind of forced yourself into a position where you'd have no option. You did, didn't you? I mean, the way my goodness, I mean, if you knew the story, it was quite something. Threw yourself into a position where you had zero communications, zero ability to communicate in the language of the land that you were in, and it was and you were forced to rely on the support that was given. You had no option. You couldn't go and do it alone. You had no way of doing it, and this kind of forced you to accept help in some ways.
Helping myself, because basically
exactly.
my nervous breakdown was me being forced to look at myself and deciding, is this how I want to continue, or do I want to make the changes? Now, I'm not suggesting to anyone that they need to go into a nervous breakdown, far from it.
God,
because
please no.
It's not a good place to be, I can assure you. But in recognizing that you have control over who you are and choosing to take action to explore who you really are, you can make massive changes and live the life that makes you happy, gives you joy, gives you success and achievements in ways that you'd never imagined possible. But as I say, I'm not asking anyone to go into a nervous breakdown. I'm suggesting that perhaps it starts by looking at you as a person, what you truly believe about yourself. And in taking that step, you discover so much about your life that you have been doing, as you say, automatically, that you don't have to do anymore, because you start to understand who you really are and trust yourself in a way that says you know what you're doing.
Right. I mean, I would say that there's been metaphysical changes, but absolute physical changes in you. The way you transport yourself, the way you initially come across, whereas before it seemed uncertain and unsure. Now you seem to be absolutely sure-footed and more dynamic and more direct and just the colors you wear, for instance, all of that has completely changed. And that came from accepting who you are. Is that
accepting me, just accepting me and loving myself in taking that journey to discover who I really was? And I was closed off. I'm the first to admit, I totally closed off. I didn't want to be hurt anymore. I didn't want anyone to criticize me or judge me. And yet I was creating a situation where people were judging me, were talking about the fact that I was so shut off, that I wasn't that approachable.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, this is a common. I've heard this with loads of people, but most of them don't break out of it. Most of them are happy to wallow in that self-destructive spiral.
I wasn't. I literally
visibly not. And I'm not seeking to flatter. Just the way in which you hold yourself is night and day. It is. but it is. It cannot be argued with. It's obvious. Anyone. I don't know if that makes you a better person. It does certainly make you a more confident and dynamic person, and you're able to speak your truth in a much plainer and more obvious manner.
Yeah.
So this is all the physical and less obvious physical changes, and anyone can achieve this, I guess.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. Even you could if you choose to.
I'm fairly I have to say I'm fairly self-aware, and I'm pretty much happy with myself at the moment. I'm touch wood. I'm kind of don't want to change the balance of my life, because I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm enjoying my music. I'm enjoying the people around me. I'm making, no offense, Karen, unexpected friends. I mean, this is going to sound terrible. You wouldn't be my first choice for a friend when I met you.
No, I know. And I wouldn't be a friend of myself, truthfully, in the way I was.
Right. But now this unveiled, I was going to say new improved, but it's not new improved. It was always there, right? It was just, it's just you took the heavy, you took the concrete overcoat off.
Yeah. You could say that.
Yeah, but I mean in a loving way. I mean, in the sense that because the stuff that was holding you back was Karen made.
Family made.
Yeah, so it was stuff other people had laid upon you, and potentially you'd accepted as being part of what you were, right? You'd accepted this, and this was part of so it was only when you were able to shuffle it off, that you could, I'm throwing metaphors at you like crazy, that you could like the dragonfly start flying around. Yeah,
I was that caterpillar that had gone into that mode of changing, metamorphosing into the butterfly, but I got stuck in that caterpillar, the poopy situation. I hadn't been able to create my wings. I literally had remained in that place, and that's what most of us do. We take ourselves.
I quite like that. I quite like that metaphor, because you were stuck in the pupa and you didn't have the way to crack through it, to break out. No. Does it always have to be so dramatic? I mean, you took yourself to a foreign land with no money and no people and no communication, and you were forced into a direction. Don't always have to do it quite dramatically like that.
No,
I mean, dare I say it, shameless plug, Karen has taken it upon herself to try and help others get some small touch of what she discovered when she went to Egypt, and has set up an amazing residential what should we call it? It's a retreat. Thank you. It's a retreat, and you know, she'll help you understand from just being within that environment, but in a positive light, not throwing you into the deep end with nothing and nobody and no phone and no money and no language, not like that, but more just the positive energy that is within that environment that has, well, look at her, changed her for the better. And so tell me a bit more about this retreat, because I think this is going to be fantastic. And as I've said a number of times now, I have extreme fear of missing out, because I would love to be there. But this is primarily aimed at women who find themselves in that spiral, right?
Yeah. The retreat is designed literally to take you out of the environment and put you into an environment that possibly you'd never consider going to, because Egypt isn't necessarily a place most people would choose to go. They might go to Egypt for the holiday aspect of the Sharm el-Sheikh and places like that, but not to actually physically go into a desert or to go to an oasis in the middle of a desert. So this is really taking you outside your comfort zone. Basically, you'll be traveling through the desert to get to the oasis. But in the process, you'll discover who you are. Because I will be there supporting you the whole time. I will be giving you insights into what you say about yourself. I will help you understand how your body communicates with you, because your body is always communicating with you. That was part of my recovery, was my body said, I'm not prepared to keep talking to you and have you ignore me. It actually made me listen. So it's things like that. It's understanding how you can help yourself, not only to change your mindset, but also to understand that your energy is related to what you do to yourself, whether it's what you put on your body, what you put in it, what you drink, environment you're in. Even your home environment can have an impact on you.
Oh gosh, yes. So okay, do we have dates?
It will be the week of the 21st of October. At the moment, I'm in discussions as to what date, because you will have a day trip into the desert. And I need to make sure that that is arranged before I can say to you for certain what dates will be, because it needs to tie in with flight arrivals. Because I don't want people sitting around waiting to go into the desert if we can't get things organized in a way that we can all meet at the airport and go from the airport, because the journey will start from the moment you land.
So how many people will it be taking with you on this journey?
The maximum I can take is 20, and that includes facilitators. At the moment,
so we're really talking about eight or nine people.
No, I'm talking about possibly 16 to 18 people.
16 to 18 people.
The absolute maximum I can do.
And if we were going to describe the kind of person who would get the most benefit from this, what would you say?
It'd be somebody who's ready and willing to explore who they are at that level, that they know they've done work already, but they still haven't found the answers.
Okay. Guys, if you are at that point where you recognize that work needs to happen, but perhaps you're a little bit unsure even which way to go, and you know stuff has to change the way Karen did, but you need something just to take you away from yourself so that you can look back and see who you really are. I cannot recommend this highly enough. I've known Karen for a while, and I've seen the change, and she's now bottled this so that you can experience this change too. So I would say take the time out, go to karenbashford.com, link up with her on LinkedIn, where she is very much available, and just monitor us. As soon as we've got the dates in place, we'll be talking about it on this channel anyway, but just take the time out and help yourself to help yourself. Karen, once again, thank you so much. Every day a learning day. Yeah, actually, do you know what? I'm going to credit you with something. I've changed a bit since we've been talking. I don't mean today, I mean overall. And I think as I take a little bit more time to listen to myself rather than just going with the flow, which is sometimes an easier route, you know? And I credit you with that. And, well, you know, you're a good influence. Yeah, well, you know, don't make me go shy. All right. Guys, take note. Jump to karenbashford.com. Seek out Karen Bashford on LinkedIn. If you're unsure where that is, just send me a message and I will hook you up. We're talking again for the week of the 21st.
Yeah.
Right. Soon. So keep your eyes and your ears peeled, as it were. Thank you once again, Karen. And guys, keep your feet on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars. And please, please look after your mental health in these torrid times. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much, Karen. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.